NathanIvy.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. As far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Jules made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close this year, too strong. Team AI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch, the king flow, the hot shot. Cops watching, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlative, keep it locked like the Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the tip plays, let's be about it. Who got the info about it? Hey yo, John be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of ripples. Show you where the princess, Cincinnati red tag. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
That down, DJ. Now, to me, this seems like holiday music. This is holiday music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Just a few minutes after 8 a.m. this morning, Cincinnati's most dangerous talk show, The Nathan Ivy Show. Good morning. Daily Digital, brought to you by Sin Digital Media. Oh, yeah, that's that Donnie B right there. Yeah. We'll save it. Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you? Here we are. What are we, on the precipice of a brand new year? I'm not sure if you achieved all your goals this year. I hope you did. And if not, whatever goals you have, I hope you take care of them in 2020. I just like saying 2020. I feel like I'm in the future. 2020, that is super dope, man. Back in the 80s, early 90s, if somebody would have brought up 2020, all the sci-fi movies, they were like dated in 2020 when all the cool stuff happens. And the coolest thing that's going on right now is the internet. I'll say it again. I love being on the internet. The internet is where all the cool shit is. The internet is where all the greatest stuff is. All the most cutting edge stuff that everybody enjoys is emanated from media stations that are based on the internet. The internet is the future. The future is now. I'll say it again. We are pioneers. I don't expect anybody to say it, so I've got to say it. We make history every single day that we broadcast. We are pioneers in the digital news, black infotainment in Cincinnati, area. And we've been doing it together for what, 2-3 years now, going into a fourth year? I don't know what the future holds, but I'm certainly enjoying the ride. It's quite interesting. So we are doing that. And again, I don't expect for mainstream media in Cincinnati to write about it. I don't expect for, other media entities, black or white, to acknowledge it. But I already know. Good morning. Welcome back. This is the future. Many shows will follow what we're doing now. We're laying the blueprint. And the way blueprints work is people never come to you and say, hey, Nate, you're laying the blueprint. That's not how it works. They just put it in play. They just take a little bit and put it in play. That's the way it should work. That's innovation. Hey, good morning to you. If by any chance you'd like to share your thoughts this morning, perhaps you hear a conversation that triggers you or compels you, or maybe you've been thinking about it and now you want to share your thoughts, you can do so just following this number, 513-873-7134. 7134. That's the number. All I ask is that you open your mind before you open your mouth. I had thought about doing a show today, in some part, just kind of looking back and sharing with you some of the things that I've learned. I've learned so much in 2019. 2019, in terms of learning, was probably like a breakthrough year for me. I learned more in 2019 than I did in 2018 in terms of business, in terms of talk radio, in terms of dealing with other individuals. I mean, 2019 was just like, boom, just blew my mind in a lot of ways. I thought that 2018, blew my mind when I kicked off Sin Digital Media, but 2019 was even more instrumental in my growth and my own maturity. And like I said, in a lot of ways I just told you about than ever before. I mean, it's amazing what they say. Life, if you're in a place to, and you can position yourself to actually do it, will teach you a lot of things. It will teach you a lot of things. But the list is so long, and some of it, quite honestly, with personal, I might expose some friends and some relationships. So I won't get all into the details, but I will say that, as I said anyway, man, that I hope that I learn as much in 2020 as I learned in 2019. I'm doing shit in 2019. I didn't know how to do this shit in 2018. I didn't know how to do this shit. It's just new skills. And it goes back to Damon John, the power bro. You got to learn how to do everything. And if you're in a space to receive it, you will grow. You'll become stronger. I'm 10 times stronger today than I was a year ago today. No doubt about it, 100%. 1,000%. 1,000%, no doubt about it. And I hope that I can chart the same growth in my own maturity a year from now. That would be excellente. But I do want to talk about numerous things this morning, including this question: God or guns? God or guns, which offers more protection? When I kicked off my career in commercial radio, one of the first shows I did, I was sitting in for some people that were out. And one of the very first shows that I did, I never forget it, was a show called God or Guns. God or Guns. As I said, heavily influenced by hip hop culture. One of my favorite poets at the time, I didn't know all the details about the way he treats women, was Nas, the great poet Nas. And he had a line, God or Guns, which offers more protection. There was something that was going on. I think there must have been a mass shooting or something like that. And so I put that out there because I felt like, you know what? That's a pretty good question. And I've asked that question over and over again. I'll ask you this morning, which offers you more protection, God or guns? Well, if you ask some of the parishioners at West Freeway Church of Christ in White Settlement near Fort Worth, they will tell you probably guns, because church members stopped a shooter during an attack at a church on Sunday. That's right. Imagine being in a church. Somebody stands up or walks in with a weapon and starts opening fire. 2 people actually lost their lives. 1 died on the way to the hospital. 1 was pronounced dead on the scene, including the perpetrator, because parishioners returned fire. They're sitting in church with guns. Welcome to the new America. It's a whole new paradigm out here. So he opens fire. Church members, they stand up, they return fire. Kill this individual. So I'll ask you again, what offers you more protection? God or guns? I already know what the answer is, right? The most intelligent answer is, well, it depends on what type of enemy you're fighting, Nate. If it's spiritual warfare, I'm going to say God. And if it's something, man or made, I'm going to say guns. But think about that. You're sitting in church with a gun. Does that mean that you don't have faith in God's ability to save you? Or are you trying to plan B the situation and trying to change God's will? Oh, no. You tell me. 513-873-7134. White Settlement Police Chief. And that's a very troubling name. White Settlement? What the fuck? Hold on. What the? White Settlement? Is that a real spot? I wonder how they got their name. White Settlement in Fort Worth? Is that Texas? Is there anyone in the audience has ever been to or drove through White Settlement? I mean, here in Ohio, here in Cincinnati, we got a Winton Woods. We got some very unusually named, neighborhoods, but not White Settlement. I mean, I would like to know the creation of White Settlement. I'm looking at it right now. I'm on Wikipedia. White Settlement? That sounds very politically incorrect. It's in it's a northwestern suburb of Fort Worth. Population 16,000. Name change, please. But White Settlement Police Chief J.P. Bevering, so for whatever reason it sounds apropos, the police chief's name is J.P. He said that the shooter entered the church during the service, but then heroic parishioners returned fire, and he died on the scene. Ain't that crazy? But see, after what happened down in Charleston, man, people are even more on alert about that. And I don't have a problem with you taking a weapon into the church. I don't think it's anti-religious. I don't think it's an affront to God. I think it's smart, because you never know if the preacher's messing around with somebody's wife. Some of these mofos getting their emotion about their woman. They want to come to the church. They want to do it in front of everybody. The black church is just a magnet for hate. And if you live in Ohio, and if you live in Cincinnati in particular, Hamilton County, I mean, we're like number one when it comes to reported hate crimes. I'd say the number is pretty high. The black church has been the backbone of the civil rights community movement, the black community in a lot of different ways. That's the reason why these racists attack it, because it's a symbolism of black unity, and they want to attack it. So, yeah, I got no problem with it whatsoever. I got no problem. They should not be charged. They did what they had to do. You sit in church trying to get your worship on. Somebody's trying to send you to your God. Nah, buddy, I don't want to see him today. You can see him. Tell him I said hi. Everybody wants to die. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. Was this God's will? Maybe it was God's will that you die that day. Nobody wants to hear that, right? I get it. I definitely get it. 513-873-7134. If you would like to share your thoughts this morning, you can use that number. Feel free to do so. Oh, man. Well, good morning to you, Choppers. What's on your mind? If by any chance you're thinking, I wonder if Nate's going to talk about this, and you don't hear me mention it, I may not have seen it. You can post a link inside the chat room, aka the Chop Shop, Or you can go over to Facebook, and there is a Facebook group called The Friends Who Like the Nate Show, the Nathan Ivey Show, and you can drop a link in there. I go there every single day. How was your weekend? Was it busy? Was it sleepy? I mean, what exactly did you do? Okay, were you busy? Were you Netflix and chilling the whole damn time? What was going on? How was your weekend? I like to hear it. Hope it's great. Hope it's great. Good morning. You know, I read a report that said that there were like fights at malls all over the country where teenagers were so-called getting aggressive. And that was the word that was being used. Oh man, I'm seeing some teenagers. They rocking right now. They rocking right now. They what? This video has over almost 300,000 views. Shout out to Glenn for posting it inside the Friends page. Damn. Hold on. Stop playing with me, boy. I heard that. Oh, nothing like some good holiday shopping and you get a chance to see a melee. Nothing wrong with that. You got some coupons. You got some digital coupons. You want to redeem them? You got to take your phone. They got to scan your phone at the counter. And while you're scanning your phone to finalize your purchase, a fight breaks out with 17 black teenagers. Because we know that when black teens fight, it's worse than when white teens fight. You know, when black people do things, it's looked upon as aggressive. Looked upon as aggressive. I just had to check somebody at my daughter's school about that recently. As it relates to me. Yeah. I said, no, I ain't aggressive. I'm angry. I got every right to be. But that's how they try to pit black folks. That's how they try to do it. It's quite interesting. Oh, man, damn. It's going down. But I read that there were similar, fights at malls all over the country. Did you read that? I thought that was really interesting. So that just tells me that Cincinnati is probably not too dissimilar than a lot of places. What are we going to do with our teenagers? This city is not set up for teenagers, especially not black teenagers. We ain't set up for that. We're set up for, we got a drug culture, in Cincinnati like everywhere else. Like drugs is a part of the revitalization of Cincinnati. Now, city leadership may not like it, but I don't give a damn what they like. I keep it real with you. Drugs, AKA alcohol, is helping to turn back the city, man. Yeah, everybody loves it. There's a bar for everybody in Cincinnati. There's a new bar for everybody. Now, what if you don't drink? Well, pick up drinking. Start drinking and enjoy what Cincinnati has for you. What's wrong with you? Oh, man, there's just so many great things that's going on in early 2020 that I want to share with you and get a chance to talk about. And perhaps we will this morning. Again, 513-873-7134. New rule. I may get a chance to get to this. A man should never ask a woman to marry her on Christmas, especially not a black man. What's wrong with you? You don't ask them, you don't get married to your wife on no damn Christmas. What's wrong with you? It's so unimaginative. Christmas. How many people out there got engaged? If you're married right now, you got engaged on Christmas. It's not going to work. Any marriage in which you get engaged on Christmas and you're black, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. There's a former NBA, he was a standout. I won't say he was a star. He just got engaged to his girlfriend on Christmas. Christmas? Let me tell you why I think that's wrong, and just keep listening. I'll tell you why. 513-873-7134. I got to be the big uncle for all these dudes, man, because these dudes don't know what they're doing. You don't get engaged on no damn Christmas. It's the wrong day. And I'll tell you why. In just a second, 513-873-7134. It is the wrong day for that, B. I want to, who's the name of the coach? Zach Taylor is a bullshit artist extraordinaire. I read his quotes after they beat the Browns yesterday. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. Any Bengal fan is like, oh, at least we beat the Browns. You sound like a damn fool. Team got 2 wins all year. Talking about, at least we beat the Browns. No, fool. That's the most you did was beat the Browns this year. That's not the least. That's the most you've done. Zach Taylor must be one of those guys that like interviews very, very well. Because that man is full of BS. Oh, that's how you finish a season, he said. That's how you finish a season? You got 2 wins. Yeah, that's how you finish a season. I'm telling you, man, bullshit artist extraordinaire, Zach Taylor. A white male who is just finished his rookie head season. And it's just so amazing. If Marvin was still the coach and they had the exact same season, record, then the media would have a whole different tune. It'd be all sour and down, you know, like a overcast forecast like yesterday in Cincinnati. It'd be all doom and gloom. With this dude, it's like, oh, yeah, we got a good team. We don't have no damn good team. You are what your record says you are. And the record of the Cincinnati Bengals said they are not worth the money. They ain't worth the money. Politicians that talk about rethinking that deal are very smart. They should. Oh, that's the way you close a season. That's the way you close a season. That's the way you close. How about the way you begin a season? I thought it was crazy, man. Over the weekend, I read this quote. Zach Taylor, he put a quote, said, I know the city wants to beat Cleveland. Really? No, B, that's not high on my priority list. I don't give a damn if you beat Cleveland. So what? I know you. Yeah, this is how you finish the season. I know the city wants to beat Cleveland. Zach Taylor needs to get his ass out here in Cincinnati and do some philanthropic work. That's what he needs to do. He needs to get his hands dirty, and he needs to put his celebrity to work for the good people in Cincinnati and Hamilton County. Because what he's doing on the field is complete. It's a big old pile of horse manure. I'm not buying it. You don't never see no black coaches with horrible records talking about, yeah, this is how you close out a season. You beat a whack team. You beat a team we always beat at home. I'm telling you, this city, man. This city would rather lose with Zach than win with Marvin. I don't know why that is, but it is. And nobody can tell me that if Marvin Lewis had not stayed on for another year, that their record would not be better. The record would be better. Oh, we got 2 wins. I couldn't even listen to it. I usually, support my man Box. Shout out to Wayne Box Miller, black male, who does the play-by-play on radio. I couldn't even do it, man. I couldn't even do it. I'm not rolling with no losers. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it, but you can do it, though. How many people got this? You was all excited on Sunday. Yeah, we got to win. Next year, these nuts. We always on some next year stuff here. God, we so easy to please in this city. Zach Taylor must be the best interviewer in NFL history. How the hell you get that job? You rolling here with one of the worst records in the league talking about, I know the city wants us to beat Cleveland. No, fool. The Bengal fans wanted you to have a winning record and go to the playoffs, fool. Somebody needs to check this dude, man. But media in Cincinnati is so polite. Nobody wants to say anything because you might put your free tickets at risk. Oh, they might not come on the radio and talk to us. Man, hopefully we can leave all that weak-assness in 2019 in terms of local media. This is crazy. I only talk about it because it's a half-cent, what is it? Not even a half-cent sales tax. But I only talk about it because there's taxpayer commitment involved. Other than that, I don't give a damn about the Bengals. I want them to lose every game next year. You hear me? Every game. I want them to lose 77 games. And I will not be happy until it happens. I do not wish them well. Let me see here. 1-15. 11-14. Talking about, yeah, the city wants us to beat Cleveland. We got something to build upon. No, you don't. Y'all better stop it. Well, I saw people on my Facebook page breaking out their Bengal jerseys, looking like minions. Stop it. All right, I'm gonna move on. Enough of that. I got the Zach Taylor flow out real early. Got to get that out there. 513-873-7134. Give us our money back. The Bengals should give us the Hamilton County taxpayer investment back. Terrible. Everybody wants to be friends. Oh, I'm not going to say anything because they've got so much potential. Yeah. Sure they do. Again, good morning to you. Again, 513-873-7134. What is that meme? What? Thank you, Pat. Pat, I did receive your message. She was telling me that somebody in radio was giving me compliments. And what I would say is people try to act magnanimous, but what really happens is what's going on behind the scenes. And what's funny is people will get on radio and try to be fake cool. And they do that because they want to come across to the audience a certain way. But behind closed doors, they try to put up barriers and talk BS. So, Pat, I would just be careful about what you hear in people saying things because the proof is in the pudding. That's what I would say. See. Botham Jean's family's wrongful death lawsuit has been dismissed. A wrongful deaths lawsuit filed by the family of Botham Jean. Of course, he was a black man that was sitting in his house eating ice cream and smoking marijuana when an off-duty police officer basically opened his door and killed him. She said it was a mistake. And remember, we talked about this because when the verdict came out, everybody made a big deal out of the little brother's reaction when he wanted to go give Amber Geiger, that is the former police officer who shot and killed Botham Jean. Basically, they lived in the same apartment complex, although I believe that she was below him, like one floor directly below him. And maybe you can blame the architects of these buildings because they make them so cheaply that they all cookie cutter and they look like the same. So she gets off the elevator and she claims that she thought it was her apartment, but she really had opened the door to his apartment. For whatever reason, his door was unlocked. And when she noticed him walking around, she basically opened fire and killed him. Now, the way I look at it is this was nothing more than some old Judge Dredge type stuff. The way I look at it is she's a police officer. We know that she had a history of saying things that were questionable, like making jokes about killing Martin Luther King and all these kind of things, right? So what I think happened is as a police officer, she thought she was in her own house and she decided she was going to be judge, jury, and executioner. She decided, oh, I ain't calling nobody. When I call them, it'll be to get your body. And she made a decision to use lethal force and to kill Botham Jean because it was one of those kind of things that you hear black people say this phrase all the time. I wish they would. You ever heard somebody black say that? I wish a mofo would do this or that. I think it was kind of that mentality. You know what I'm saying? From a law enforcement standpoint. I think from her standpoint, in her head, she was thinking, oh, okay, you going to rob a police officer? Here's what happens when you break into a police officer's house. We ain't going to have no trial. Okay. Well, we did have a trial, but we ain't going to have no long out taking you down and booking you through the process and things like that. They're going to pick your body up and then people are going to get the message. Don't break into a police officer's home. It wasn't a mistake. The mistake was she keyed into the wrong place. It wasn't a mistake that she killed Botham Jean, but her brother's 18 years old. So he went up and hugged her and everybody was like, what's wrong with black people? Black people are too forgiving. Well, here's the next layer of that story. So the wrongful death lawsuit has been dismissed. And I don't know if that's because of, I'm not sure what that's because of. I'm not sure what that's because of. I mean, because the woman was found guilty and she went to jail or she's in jail right now. But the lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. Like, don't even bring this ish up anymore. Yeah, that's something. And basically, it's the city of Cincinnati the city of Dallas has been dismissed from the wrongful death lawsuit. Now, Amber Geiger is still a part of it, but a judge said that the city of Dallas basically wasn't responsible. Huh? Now, would it have been different if she was on guilty? I mean, she was actually on duty? Perhaps. Again, Amber Geiger was coming off a 13-hour shift back on September 6, 2018, when she claimed that she mistook Botham Jean's apartment for her own and thought he was an intruder. And again, just because there's an intruder in your house doesn't mean that you have to kill them. And that goes for Amber Geiger or anybody. You know what I'm saying? And she got 10 years. She should have got 20 years, in my opinion. But, you know, black life, and then you know how law enforcement is when these kind of things happen. It kind of plays out in their favor, it seems like it, right? Just being real with you. FOP president speaks for his ego and not fellow officers. That's hilarious. What is this? Lee, that's hilarious, man. That is hilarious. See, people are going to say that you're trying to get violence. After being ticketed for smoking and having her dog off of a leash. Okay. Akeem posted this. Y'all ready for another year of injustice? Lauren Gotthelf was arrested on November after a officer wrote her a ticket and in public smoking and littering. She was at some kind of pizza parlor or plaza or something like that. It's a white female.
It's not the back of the judge. He's going to sit here for a little bit until they. Yeah, that's not right. I mean, I'd rather sit out there and just for a minute, and then if you can get your foot out there, we'll get your foot out there. But right now, it's heading this way. But I'm not sure why I have to be. Hold on.
So she gets arrested for smoking, littering, and having her dog off of a leash. It sounds like she might have irritated somebody and they just wanted to teach her a lesson, because those all sound like very small and minor things. But apparently in the video, at some point they have to like detain her, and she ends up being tased.
All right, enough. Go face that wall. Face the wall.
Face the wall. Turn around, face it. Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back. Yes, we are. All right. Yes, I am. Put your hands behind your back. Now. Do it now.
Oh, I'm watching this video. There was a video I saw. I thought this came from Ohio, where you had what appeared to be, and this was just like a county facility, I believe. Like, you know, think of here in Hamilton County, think about the Justice Center. And there was a man who was like completely strapped in one of those Hannibal Lecter type chairs. You know what I'm talking about? When they put you in the chair and they strap you down and they wheel you around. They'll even put a face mask over you so you can't spit at the officers. Sometimes I feel like they go too far with it. Well, in this particular video I watched most recently, you know, I don't know what he said to the deputy or the officer, but the officer takes him outside. And then, again, this man is completely strapped down. This is a non-black man, by the way. Okay, because anybody can get it. I told you before. Anybody can get it. White, black, you can be handicapped. You can be a quadriplegic. We saw that recently. We had a young man who basically was a W amputee, and a police officer tackled him on the ground and subdued him. He was a double amputee, like he's really going somewhere. You can be autistic. You can be gifted. You can be broke. You can be rich. Anybody can get it from law enforcement in America. It don't really matter. I keep telling black people that. It's just that black people get the tip of the spear. Our neighborhoods are policed differently. So apparently they tasered this woman. But going back to the story, so the guy, and it's all on video, by the way. And so, you know, the officer knew it was on video. Like I'm telling you, we live in a day today where people don't care about no video. They don't care about being recorded. As we go into 2020, dumb-ish, people with attitudes, people with bad attitudes is at an all-time high. It's at an all-time high across the board. We only want to focus on the black teenagers at the mall, but people nuts everywhere, man. Everything's different. This is not the 70s. This ain't the 80s. Everything's different. Anybody can get it. So in this particular, video, the officer wheels him outside. He takes his mace, backs up, and sprays this guy all in his face. The guy starts, and he falls backwards into the damn parking lot. is a man who was completely secured, legs, hands. He ain't going nowhere. Why would another human being do that? Because they can. We live in an era where people do what they want to do because they can. That's why. Because they can. That's it. That's the provocation. That's the reason why. And if you don't like it, then what you going to do about it? I think he even punched the dude in the face too. And then, the deputy later got fired. But, sometimes in some of these scenarios, man, people feel so safe and secure in their privilege and their arrogance that they'll do anything to you.
Don't shove your face into a bowl.
Sit down.
Anybody got a spit sock?
Sit down.
In my pocket.
Sit down. Happen again. It'll happen. It'll happen again. It'll happen again. Sit down. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
In 2020, the whole phrase "stop resisting" needs to be rethought. There needs to be revisited because that whole thing gets abused. You got a person with a badge, and they feel as if you're gonna do whatever I tell you to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you want to give me some lip? Okay, great. I got something for you. Really? What is it? It's called the taser. And so they tasered this woman right here, right there. Let's see here. That's cool. I guess I'll let that ride. I guess that's all cool. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Jesse and Brenda. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I posted over the weekend 15 scholarships to which students can apply during the break. That's inside the Friends page. Please share that if you have some young people or some people that are maybe high schoolers. That could be something they could take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? Free sounds great when you're talking about college education. It sounds great. See, I'm one of them people where, I didn't have the kind of parents that could take care of my student loan debt. I have to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's some people where either they just find themselves in a situation where they get a full ride scholarship, which is great, or they're in a situation where their parents will shoulder the burden and take care of that. As a parent, you would love to be in a position like that for your children, right? My mother was not. my parents were not. Let me see here. Good morning to you. Ray writes Grand Risings all. Also, 3 things that need to stay. We don't need to take into 2020, man. Just a few thoughts from me to you. 3 things that do not need to come with us in 2020. Stay your ass in 2019. Don't come to the house. Don't hit the bell. Don't text me. Don't call me. Okay, 3 things. Ray writes Grand Risings all. She writes, the speaker sounds kind of scratchy. Okay. Not sure what that is. Okay. Tracy writes, hi. Good morning to you, Tracy. Pat writes, good morning. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. She writes, it must have been the music. Okay, great. That's great to hear. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag Team and I. Mason Marler writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Hashtag 2020. Vision will have you getting what I'm spitting. Is that right? Looking forward to it. Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers with a Z. CJ writes, good morning, all. Kush writes, they're talking to Ray. CG Dubs in the house. She writes, good morning, Choppers. Oh, that's you chilling in the pool? Okay. I see you, CG Dub, in the pool. Tracy writes, Nas treats women how? Well, he was beating his ex-wife. He was beating up his ex-wife, the mother of his children. I didn't know that back then. Mason Marler writes, I'll take guns for 200, Alex. I know that's right. Brother Muzone writes, good morning. Mason Marler writes, so is it just me? So it's not just me. I thought the same thing, Nate, when I saw the name of the town, White Settlement. Okay, then, right. White Settlement? You need to change that, B. Or not. Kush writes, the Most High God is the ultimate protection. Guns may jam, But tie your camel, he writes. Meyer Wolfsheim writes, good morning, choppers. Between Beowulf, the conceited bastard, Michael Snackson, Malcolm Excellence, so now you're going to claim Malcolm Excellence, Fane Rothstein, Meyer Wolfsheim, and Steven Trilberg, I got more AKAs than a Black Greek step show and Apollo Creed combined. You are immersed. Hashtag alt middle is for the children. You certainly do. And you're very creative and very imaginative. So now I knew that was you, Malcolm Excellence. I like that, though. Miss Tiffany writes, good morning. CG Dub writes, I had my 2.5-year-old grandson from Wednesday till last night. Sister is tired. Oh, man. 2.5? Whoo. 2.5 is that kind of age where you got to, like, build a barrier around them so they don't crawl into something. You know what I'm saying? 2.5 is, woo, you're right. You said from Wednesday till last night? Damn. Okay, Grandma, so you're doing your thing. Maya writes, White Settlement, Texas. I mean, if you're a grandparent, that's the least you got to do is take the kids. If you're a grandparent, you got to take the kids. You know what I'm saying? That's at the very least that you can do. Take the kids for a while, and then your kids will get whatever they got to do. If that's a break or they go on a vacation or whatever. That is the bare minimum. Bare minimum. Maya writes, White Settlement, Texas. Sounds like it was formed after Juneteenth. I'm just saying. Maybe. Could have been. Kermir writes, Dalton, a.k.a. Howdy Doody, needs to go. Well, the thing about it is, you know me, I stopped effing with the Bengals when Andy Dalton came on. I told you 7-8 years ago, I ain't watching this. I'm off the bandwagon. If that's the quarterback that you want to run with, you're never going to win. And I was right. He was a bad pick. Andy Dalton is average at best. And in the big moments, he don't have the eye of the tiger. He don't have none of that. No rhythm. He all off beat with it. You know what I'm saying? No, you off beat, Andy. You know Andy's off rhythm. I saw a report from, not a report, but an article in which there was a statement from him in which he says he wants to be a starter. I wish you the best. He should be a starter in the Hamilton County Flag Football League. That's about it. Brother Muzone writes, worst record in franchise history, and he talking like that, shaking my head. Right. Man, Zach Taylor is a bullshit artist or he's a great interview. Because in terms of a coach, he all right at best. We could have kept Marvin and we would have had a better record. How many people agree with that? If Marvin Lewis was the coach, we would have a better record. And then we would have had another local celebrity who was actively working for the betterment of at least our students in a very philanthropic way. I know people don't really, they like philanthropy. We're talking about the shit that Marvin did away from the field that impacted families here. Is Zach Taylor doing any of that? Because if he's not, that means on two levels he's not doing what Marvin did. He's not producing wins, and he's not producing for the community. I mean, Zach Taylor needs to come to Cincinnati and work in Cincinnati and volunteer in Cincinnati before he starts talking about what Cincinnati wants. He's not from Cincinnati. He don't know us. He don't know he gonna tell us what we want. Yesterday, I didn't give a damn about a win against the Cleveland Browns. Not even again. I cared not. I didn't watch the game, and I didn't watch any highlights. So what? Big deal. You won the last game of the year. Way to go. Only a white male could get away with that in the world of sports. A brother can never say no dumb shit like that. I'm telling you. I hate to get racial with you, but I feel like there's a racial element to this. I really do. We saw Dusty Baker leave. Team ain't been back to the playoffs. Everybody's happy. How are you happy with losing when winning is what's it's supposed to be all about? And the Bengals looks like they might get the first pick. I have no confidence they're going to pick the right player. They're going to mess it up somehow. They're going to fuck it up, and you know it and I do it. So I have no confidence in them whatsoever. Zero confidence. Zero. I have no reason to have confidence. And again, if you look black in Hamilton County, I'm still wondering, other than your cousin might get a job, selling popcorn or some shit, selling souvenirs. Other than that, how has that impacted our community in a positive way? I don't know. I'm sure there's a way, and I just don't know it. I'm sure there's a lot of positivity to it. I'm just ignorant. Let me see. What up, Roger? What up with you? Appreciate it. I mean, a lot of good culture. Appreciate the culture, man. Again, I can't see everything. I appreciate people posting inside the page there. Quite honestly, I go there every single day to see what's on your mind, to see what's out there, and appreciate it. Kermia writes, I think I read that. Nate, you know why it is. It's black and white. It is. I mean, I really believe that. It's that, and it's also, I think, Marvin just got old. Not that he got old as a human being, but just the whole thing got old. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of people. Not for me. I think that Marvin should have stayed a couple more years. That was me personally, but it is what it is. It's a good conversation, Pete. Peace. That's about it at this point because the decisions have been made. I just think it was remarkable that Zach Taylor's talking about that's the way you finish a season. Well, no, motherfucker, that's not how you finish a season. The way you finish a season is on a winning streak. Not just winning one game against an opponent that we beat up every single year anyway. But that's the BS, man. Some people are good at it. Brenda writes, happy Monday. Mason Marlon writes, they, the white media, did the same thing to Dusty Baker. Since then, the Reds have finished dead last the last 4 seasons. F the Reds, F the Bengals, and F the Bearcats. UC should have hired Van Exel. The Reds should have kept Dusty, and the Bengals should have hired Eric Bieniemy or Brian Flores. Yeah, I agree on all of that in terms of who they should have hired. You know, Nick Van Exel was an NBA point guard god. That man was faster with a basketball than most human beings can run without a basketball. Did he win a ring with the Lakers? You know, what's funny is that everybody thinks that Kobe Bryant is so tight, right? Kobe Bryant was most recently this past year. He did a podcast called The Knuckleheads with Q and Darius Miles, one of my favorites. And they have a question they ask every baller that comes on. They say, like, when you first got to the league, who was the first player that bust your ass, or the first player that like really showed you like the competition level here in the NBA is going to be real? Guess who Kobe Bryant said? He said Nick Van Exel. That's how tight Nick Van Exel was. Super tight. Got respect from NBA legends like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, the Mamba, said that Nick Van Exel used to cook his ass in practice. Cook him up like vittles. What you serving him up like what? And so I agree with you. I mean, I think Nick Van Exel should get a shot, man. I mean, to me, if you were a former college player, then you'd probably make the better coaches. That's just me. Meyer Wolfstein writes, Nathan hates football. Please consider that while listening to this rant against the Bengals. Guy just don't like the sport. Well, you're completely wrong about that. And my personal feelings have nothing to do with what I'm talking about the Bengals and some of the politics at play here. And then some of the comments talking about that's how you finish a season. That's how you finish a season. No, that's not how you finish a season, Zach Taylor. You finish a season on a winning streak. It would have been better if it was 2 or 3 games in a row. You won the last game of the season at home against a team that's going nowhere. It means nothing. Nothing. Brother Mazon writes, they can still sue her. Let's see if they pursue it and break her ass. I think they should. They just can't sue the city of Dallas. You know, everybody has immunity. And like I told you, here in the city of Cincinnati, you've got Cincinnati Public Schools that's in court right now trying to get immunity as it relates to the case of a little boy who was bullied at the school, and then the school did not inform the mother. They didn't tell her. Like I told you, to me, that's one of the biggest stories in Cincinnati right now that we're just not getting a lot of conversation about. And that's because a lot of people are afraid of Cincinnati Public Schools. That's what it comes down to. That's what I've seen. People are afraid for a lot of different reasons. Some people are afraid because of retaliation. And then some people, the media is bought and paid for. You know, most media in this town is bought and paid for, either through money or through personal relationships. Like, oh, I don't want to push too hard because they may not come on my show. And I get that, but I still think you got a responsibility to ask these tough questions. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's some people that care so much about being friends with the superintendent. I don't give a damn about being friends with nobody. Superintendent, whoever. You know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got friends. I got enough friends. But that's how this town works. So most media don't ask the kind of questions that really need to be asked. They just don't ask. And then what they'll try to do with this kind of show is they'll try to just shy away from it. We just ain't going to go on with Nate. Okay. It's all good. We'll soldier on somehow. Somehow we'll make it. But there needs to be some tough questions about this. The other thing is while litigation is going on, nobody's going to talk about it because they feel like it might impact the overall, outcome. But you got the city of Cincinnati that is saying that they should be granted immunity from a lawsuit from a family whose little boy, their son, called 911. But between the 911 outdated system and then the actions of officers that were called to the scene, they didn't find the boy. The boy dies. His father finds him upside down in a van. He had died. City of Cincinnati said it ain't their fault. Same thing with Gabriel Tay. The Cincinnati Public School says it's not their fault. You know, your son or daughter goes to their school, is in their protection all day long. Something happens that is an emergent situation, like you find somebody unconscious, that's an emergency. They don't even tell the mama. The mother has no idea. She sends the boy back to school 2 days later. He gets harassed and bullied, right? Again. And ends up committing suicide at home shortly thereafter. And I'm just trying to find out who's responsible. And see, my attitude about this is it should be what's best for the kids. You know, that's me. You know, the outcome of Gabriel Tay, and I'm not saying it's going to be this way, but what it should be is what's best for the kids. For me personally, what's best for the children in the Gabriel Tay case, number one, should have been full transparency by CPS in terms of this situation and all the other situations that might be similar to it. I'm not really sure we got that. What we got was the former superintendent, Mary Ronan. She went in media and basically said that there's no connection and that the Cincinnati Public Schools is not responsible at all. I mean, she's a good steward for her kids. What I found is that when you push against the system, it's not really about the kids. It's really about grown people and their jobs, people trying to be cool with people and all that. That's what it's really all about. It ain't really about the kids. Because if it was about the kids, we'd be having a different kind of conversation about Gabriel Tay, as it relates to CPS. I went to, and I'll give you a great example of it in terms of the black community. You know me, I'm keeps it rizzle with you. I couldn't get to the microphone fast enough. Shout out to Corinthian Baptist Church. You go back to this year, it was like back in the summertime. They had a public forum in which they had a lot of people who were there, but so was the superintendent. She was there. And at the very end of the whole demonstration and presentation in the program, they had her, they was doing some Q&A. Nobody asked a question about that. And I'm like, damn, room full of black folks, ain't nobody asked a damn question about Gabriel Tay. My question was about Gabriel Tay and their brand new bullying policy. I just couldn't get to her fast enough. And I was going to ask her in front of everybody. Right there in front of the community. I just couldn't get to the microphone fast enough. And then since then, I put my efforts in to get the superintendent on, and I've been told yes, I was given a date, and it just hasn't happened for whatever reason. But hopefully that will happen soon in 2020, because somebody needs to, and it should be me, because who else is it going to be? Nobody. To ask the kind of questions and demand the kind of responses and accountability that we need. It don't have to be nasty, but I'm not here to be friends either. It's about our children. So, nobody asked any questions. They was asking questions about shit that didn't matter. But you know how it is that when parents have issues with CPS and they go to a forum like that, they typically are going to ask a question about something that's centered upon them. Right? But I'll be honest with you, I felt like there was a lack of awareness in the room as well. Like people just like dumbfounded. They didn't know what to ask. And so what happens is the conversation ends up being about CPS expansion and all the wonderful new programs, but nobody's talking about the lack of accountability. Nobody's talking about these really salient issues that really, really matter, because everybody want to be cool. And I get it. I want to be cool too. I like to be cool with people, but that's not my job. Let me see. Tracy writes, the Dolphins won. Okay. The Dolphins won. CG Dub writes, smoking what? I think she was smoking a cigarette. Hey, I see Donnie B's in the house. What's up, Donnie? She writes, Dallas should have been dismissed. Amber Geiger was not on duty. Okay. See, that was the first thought I had in my mind was, okay, she's off duty. Does that mean that the city has less responsibility? That was a terrible situation, man. It really was. Terrible situation. I just can't even imagine. Like, imagine that's like your family member. Can't imagine that, man. That'd be terrible. Absolutely terrible. It was a family member, quite honestly. With Botham John, it was a family member. I'm talking about a close personal family member. That would have been quite interesting. So we shall see. I think we've seen the worst of what's going to happen to Amber Geiger. That's what I think. She got those 10 years. She'll be out in whatever you get with good performance and good behavior. And I think that's pretty much it. What is this here? Oh my God, really? Listen, I love holidays. I love graduation season. And the reason why is I love the pictures. I love to go on Facebook and social media. People are posting all the family photographs. I love all of that. People smiling and happy. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. But what's on your mind this morning? Again, 513-873-7134. Sharp is correcting me. He said that was Pike County. What did I say? But you're right. It is Pike County. Absolutely. Mason Marler writes, things we don't need to take in 2020. Women with tattoos all over their cleavage. Maybe it's just me. Hashtag not feeling it. Not my style. Well, I mean, ultimately, I think that's a personal style. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I think there's a way to do it. You know, I think there's a way to do it. What's been interesting is the explosion of tattoo culture. I blame Allen Iverson and Lil Wayne. Whether you know it or not, the NBA is a big cultural influencer. And seeing images of these young male athletes, their bodies tatted up, beautiful art, things like that, has spread through the nation. Hip hop culture, big influencer. Lil Wayne. I think tattoos can be dope. I got a couple myself. Most of mine are in places where I can cover them up because I just feel more comfortable that way. I'm not like super tattoo guy. You know, I got my tattoos. It was a basketball culture thing. You know, I'm playing ball. Cats is getting tatted up. I'm like, that looks nice. You know, and my tattoos mean something to me, I think, as they do for a lot of people. I've thought about getting tattoos of my children on me and my wife so that when I die, for the short time before my body decomposes, that the images of the people I love will be on me. But then when I thought about it, I realized ultimately we're all going to return to dust, so it doesn't really matter anyway. One tattoo that's very dear to me is a tattoo of my wife's name on my ring finger. I'm not a big ring person, but her name is tattooed on my ring finger, so I feel like I always have my ring on. And similarly to me, she has my name tattooed on her ring finger. That I've got some tattoos that symbolize family members. I think those tattoos are cool. Cleavage tattoos, I'll leave it up to the individual. It doesn't turn me off. I'm more of a thigh tattoo person. When I see women with thigh tattoos, I'm like, But cleavage, if it's expertly done, it can be cool. Now, I will tell you this. I will reveal this. I have a family member, a female family member who's very close to me, who recently got something on her cleavage, and I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't happy at all. I just felt like where she was, but again, she's a professional. She go to work every single day, went to college, the whole 9 yards, got a good job, benefits, and home office, the whole 9 yards. So she covers it up. But, to each their own, ultimately. I just wouldn't recommend getting tattoos like that on your face and cleavage and on your neck unless you're in a situation where you're never going to have to be judged by other people to make money. And I'm not saying that you should worry about that. I'm just saying that you should think about everything, you know, when you're trying to put yourself in a position to take care of yourself. And there are some people that will judge you. I think it's different now because I see tattoos everywhere. White people, black people, young people, old people. Everybody got tattoos now. I see teardrops in the face and all kind of stuff. Neck tattoos that are very, very popular. Behind the ear. So, I mean, it's all about your lifestyle. Like, if that's not going to affect your money flow, cool. But like I used to tell people with Allen Iverson and Lil Wayne, those are multimillionaires. They're never going to sit around across from somebody in an interview like, hey, are you going to accept me into this professional culture so I can make money and take care of myself? They're in a different bracket. You can't do what they do because they're not in your situation, but I feel you. Tracy writes 3 things that need to stay in 2019. 1, eyelashes. 2, eyebrows that favor Velcro strips. And 3, Kendoos. You are hilarious, Kendoos. As in Mary J. Blige. See, you know, you just not going to let that go, are you, Tracy? I'm going to say it again. Kendu was a good husband. It is very, very clear that Mary J. Blige was not a good wife. And I'm going to tell you why. Because how many black men are going to mess up a situation like that over some ussy? How many? You married to Mary J. Blige, you her manager. Y'all have no children together. She's subsidizing your life and taking care of your children. Y'all living in mansions and going to award shows. You're going to mess that up over some PYT? I don't think so. I don't believe it. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I just don't see that happening. Clearly they had a bad relationship. Simply moved on. Let this brother live. Let this brother live. Tracy, leave this brother alone. Let him live. Back up off him. Kendoos. Now, when a woman takes advantage of a man, it's all good, isn't it, Tracy? You ain't got nothing to say on that one. But you let one brother get a divorce settlement, and it's the worst thing in the world. She says eyelashes. The world has gone eyelash crazy. Eyebrows that favor Velcro strips. I don't know why people think these things are so important. Eyebrows are not that important to me. Eyelashes, not that important to me. But to some people, I guess that's really important. I see like makeup things and people doing, man, there's a white dude that does makeup on YouTube. He's got millions of followers. And all he's doing is makeup on video. So clearly this is a big thing. I just don't understand it. I ain't really. But see, I've been blessed with good eyebrows. I've got good eyelashes. So maybe I take them for granted. I don't know. Cam writes, top of the morning, Nate. Nathan in the chop shop. Hey, good morning to you. Tracy writes, I didn't believe Khalees's story at all. So you think that Khalees would lie on Nas and say that he abused her, even though there was another ex-girlfriend of Nas that came out and said he was abusive as well. Hey, listen, Tracy, I enjoyed the great poet Nas for many, many years, but I can't roll with no women beaters. I can't roll with it. You know what I'm saying? It was a sad day for me. I had to accept it. I believe Khalees. I don't think she's going to go on TV and lie about this. I thought it was authentic. Fame writes, Meyer Wolsheim writes, power out all over the West Side. Duke Energy is garbage. Well, I'm just glad my power's not out, because what happens is it takes you back to the Stone Ages. You weren't out here yabba dabba doing like Fred Flintstone out here. You got no Wi-Fi. What kind of home is that with no Wi-Fi? It's 21st freaking century. You don't have any Wi-Fi? Nah, B, you have to get some Wi-Fi in here. Our power did not go out. Condolences to you if that's your situation, because that's a bad situation in 2019. No power. I get it. I've been there before when we was doing everything with candles, running around here cooking with a candle and all this kind of stuff, and you know, going out to eat every single day, or so I say, illuminating the house with candles in every room and every corner. I've been there before. It's a little bit fun for a few hours. It's like, oh, this is different. And then it gets real old because you're like back in the Stone Ages. You don't have no Wi-Fi. Did I mention that? No Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi, I can't operate. I got biz to do, man. I can't operate. Maya Wolfsheim writes 3 things to stay in 2019. Loud, aggressive women, ashy something, and victimhood. I can go with 2 or 3 of those. 2 out of 3, I can go with that. Well, 1 out of 3. Tracy writes, Nathan, you keep Marvin alive like Drop keeps Barack alive. Y'all need to let these black men go. I'm just making a point. That's all. I know it's over. I'm not saying I was a big Marvin guy. I'm just saying, I'm just looking at it like, wow, it's amazing how this city would rather lose with a non-black coach than win with a black coach. Now, I could be wrong about that. You could be saying I'm too in my racial feelings or whatever. But, you know, damn it, I'm going to stand by it. Shout out to Dr. Micah. Dr. Micah. Dr. Micah, what's up, Dr. Micah, if you're listening? From over there at Clearview Eye Care. You mean black folks taking care of your eyes. It was I was told that it was a new black-owned establishment out there. I didn't know the individuals. So I go out to get an eye exam, right? I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm in there getting some new contacts. I get back in the doctor's office. The doctor's like, hey, familiar, Nathan Ivey? Yes, that's me. So he said he listens to the show from time to time and had been listening from the buzz. I appreciate it. And we'll be back. You know, I love to recycle my dollars. We got us a new black optometrist, Dr. Micah at Clearview Eye Care. It's out there in Kenwood. I think they got a couple locations, one on the west side and one in Kenwood. But I told him I would shout him out this morning. Let me see here. Cam writes, Nathan, what's new for the show in 2020? Well, just more video. I want to move the show, this particular show, to video. Video. I want to do more videos, more live streams of the show, more live streams for all the shows. I mean, to me, that's the future. It's not just the internet, but it's also video content, which I like very well. If you haven't already done so, and I think many of you have already, but if you haven't already, make sure you check out the Is It Just Me podcast. The latest clip is up on the Facebook page and check it out. It was a great conversation with Donnie and Joe Gilbert. And I think that she completely and perfectly illuminated and deconstructed what needed to be done. And I thought it was quite interesting. And, people were like, I don't want to support him. I ain't going to go to his video. Okay, I get it. I feel you. But I think that's part of the role of black media. You know, it's not, there was some critiques before we did that interview and people was like, why y'all giving him shine? This is what media does. You break it down, you deconstruct it. It's not about promoting per se. It's about illuminating, so people can hear a strong, qualified opinion, against some of this dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? Somebody had to break it down. So it had to be us. It had to be Donnie B. I thought it was a great conversation. There's several clips up right now. Over 1,000 people have watched it. Please share it. If you haven't seen it already, check it out. It's quite an interesting conversation. Very interesting. Brother Mazone writes, Kaepernick was in the same draft class and so was Cam Newton. But the Bengals took Dalton in the draft because he fitted Jay Gruden's offensive at the time. And I knew back then it was a bad move, right? So did I. And where is Jay Gruden at anyway right now? He's out the league. He went to Washington, got fired. Maya writes, Colin K was drafted like 2 picks after Dalton. Honestly, I don't remember offhand other than Cam Newton going number 1 overall. Okay. Maya Wolfstein writes, fast pitch. I didn't see fast pitch. She's in here. Didn't see her. Good morning to you. The first pick gets life-changing money and a black card. Trust me, ain't nobody mad about going number 1, even to the Bengals. An NFL job is an NFL job, I agree. Brother Mazones writes, Nick Van Exel was a beast in L.A. Yes, he was. That's when I realized I played against Nick at the University of Cincinnati a couple times recreationally. I wasn't on his level. That's when I realized, it's levels to this. I'll never forget it, man. The ball comes off the rim. I'm sitting right next to Nick Van Exel. The next thing I know, this motherfucker was on the other side laying it up. I was at half court. running top speed. Like I said, if you can run with a basketball on a basketball court at top speed and in full control, then you going to college and you got a good shot of going to the NBA. That's what the difference is. I'm talking about running top speed under full control. Man, it was amazing. And if Kobe Bryant mentions your name as somebody that served you when you first came into the league, I think that speaks volumes. Why doesn't Nick Van Exel have a job in college? Do you know how many people would go to the games if Nick Van Exel was the coach? They would go just to see him. That would be dope. I would get behind that. I would. Fast Pitch writes, it's dudes out here playing that they're not the first draft pick this year. Yeah, they probably thinking I prefer not to go to the Bengals, but I agree with Malcolm Excellence in the sense that a $5 million check is a $5 million check. You know what I'm saying? The NFL is the NFL. We just not gonna have we're not gonna have a winning record, but the bank account's gonna have a lot of zeros in it. If I was coming out the NFL right now, I would have my preferences, but I'm going wherever. It don't matter because the check's gonna be the same, right? Miss Tiffany writes, where is Drop at to call in to change the subject? Because Nate keeps complaining about the same things over and over again. Well, thank you for that, Miss Tiffany. I get the message. Maya Wolfsheim writes, that was due to a beef with Bobby. I'm not sure what that is. Speaking about the Bengals, remember the Bengals used to have a wide receiver. His name was Marvin Jones. He's pretty good too, right? Some really sad news, man. Over the weekend, he had a 6-month-old child. I think he and his wife have like 4 children together. From what I understand, Marvin Jones is of Cuban descent, I believe. And really, really, not that one has anything to do with the other, but is really, really into family. And they lost their 6-month-old son. I don't know what the details, but apparently their 6-month-old son died, over the weekend, man. So RIP. I thought he was a hell of a player. And I hate to hear anything bad about anything happening to anybody's family. So, let me see. Brother Mazone writes, the security camera video of little Gabriel getting knocked unconscious in the bathroom was heart-wrenching. If that was my son, they whole would be effed up. All those teachers and staff would have caught hell's fury. Well, let's think about that for a second, Brother Mazone, because I don't doubt what you're saying one bit. But let me tell you how that works. If it's almost like court in a sense where, and again, ask yourself, if that was you, what would you do? What would you do that would be so differently than what the family did? I mean, you ask yourself that, if that was your child that was treated like the same scenario as Gabriel Tate, what would you do differently? Would you wild all out? You're going to get a gun and go up to CPS? Well, now you're going to be in jail. And now the story isn't about what did or didn't happen at CPS. Now it's about your ass. See, that's how the game is played. That's how they play that game. And honestly, I asked myself okay, well, that was me. I'm not sure what could have been done differently that would have led to a different outcome. You know what I'm saying? Unless, it's things that happened beforehand. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know everything that the mother did or how present she was at the school. And I'm not really sure what difference that would have really made. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's a real tough one. That's a real tough one right there. And again, if you have a child that attends CPS or you have a child that will attend CPS, these are matters of great importance that we should be talking about more and more in 2020, in my opinion, because nobody's responsible for anybody. The city of Cincinnati is not responsible for what happened to the young man that called 911 and the system starts blinking out and fizzing out and shorting out and they didn't have the proper software. And then the people at the call center are overworked. It's a bad environment. They call law enforcement. Law enforcement arrives at the scene, but they don't get out the car. Nobody's responsible for that. Nobody's responsible. Gabriel Tay. Nobody called the mother and let her know what's going on. They told them what they wanted to tell her, but they're not responsible to tell her the truth. It's a sad situation. It really is. Let me see. Tracy writes, my son turned 18 and ran to get a tattoo sleeve. He thought it would soften the blow by putting my name on his forearm. He got a tattoo sleeve. Oh, so a sleeve is when, like, just imagine like from the elbow to the wrist is completely covered in tattoos. You know, it's just amazing where we come with tattoo culture. I'm not sure we had to get on this conversation. I think somebody said tattoos, some kind of tattoo should stay in 2019. Though some of those sleeves look pretty cool. I've seen people like, oh, that's cool. He's got nice little tattoos. You can't even tell what the tattoos are because it's just like all blended together from a distance. I would say that you should express yourself the way you want to, but I think you should consider how it impacts your prospects in making money to support yourself. I think that's something that you should consider, but I'm sure you already told your son that, Tracy. I know you was like, what in the hell? Now, this is what you want to do when you 18? Brother Mazon writes, I got one little tat on my arm and I got it when I was 17. Old school with a sewing needle and an Indian ink. What? A sewing needle? What in the hell? Where they do that at, man? A sewing needle? You went old school with that one. You out getting tattoos with pardon me, with a sewing needle? That seems a little unusual. That's different. That is old school. You're right about that. That is old school. Wow. That's old school right there. A sewing needle. I don't even know how that works, man. What the hell? I am more curious now. Over the weekend, he's being called a racist, but talk radio legend Don Imus died over the weekend. And Don Imus, white male, and he was been in radio for a long time. And about 10 years ago, he got fired from CPS for some of his racist comments. And if you might remember, he used to do a morning show on, I believe it was on MSNBC. Imus in the morning. It's a legendary stinger right there. He started his radio career back in 1976. And of course, I'm well aware of Don Imus. Don Imus, I'm not sure I think he used to be in this market, in this radio market. I just can't remember what radio show he was on. His morning show was groundbreaking. I mean, the whole concept of somebody doing a radio show, but then there's a video element, that's sort of like the grandfather for a lot of what you're seeing right now. Now, I thought that Don Imus was a racist, and I thought that he was also a legendary talk radio host. Legendary. You know, he and Howard Stern back in the 80s used to go back and forth. That was back when you had shock jocks. You know, you had these terrestrial radio signals, and you had morning jocks all over the country. It's a whole different world than what it is now. You know, Don Imus comes up, he came up in talk radio at a time in which the morning culture was local. Your morning radio is not as local as it used to be. And there's still local presences, but now because of the ability to voice track and things like that, which you'll see a lot of these companies do. So let's just take Radio One, or now Urban One. So their cash cow morning show for a long time was Tom Joyner. And what that means is that they may own 100 radio stations in 100 different cities. And they would play Tom Joyner in all of those cities. And that's great because you're getting that national conversation. Is great for the radio entity because they're paying less money. But what you're losing is local voices. So Don Imus came up with a time when your local radio jock that radio jock in the morning was usually somebody from your city. And it gave rise to what people call shock jocks, right? Because they would do anything to shock the audience to try to get attention. It was all about getting numbers. Like Don Imus once went to I think he went to a McDonald's, right? And ordered like 1,200 cheeseburgers or something like that. You know, nowadays, those are the kind of things that people have put on TikTok, or they'll turn it into a YouTube channel. But back in the day, that's what stuff that Don Imus made him legendary. Don Imus wasn't necessarily an influence for me personally. You know what I'm saying? Not directly. I used to listen to what he did because it was the only thing that was on. It was the only game in town. You know, he bring on celebrities. He bring on politicians. He do all that stuff. He got himself in trouble because he said some crazy stuff about the Rutgers female basketball team. Remember that? They won a championship or went deep into the NCAA tournament. This idiot gets on his radio show and says something stupid about him. Right? Yeah. And he was ultimately let go of CBS Radio because of it. And Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson got involved. They met with the CBS president and CEO Les Moonves many years ago to try to get him off the air because Don Imus was so whatever they said he was. And maybe he was. He had an interesting story. He looked strange as he got older. It was very interesting. But he's now anybody else used to listen to Don Imus? I used to do a morning show. It was called Ivy in the Morning. Don Imus' show was called Imus in the Morning. That's not a coincidence. So it wasn't like that Don Imus was a big influence for me. I was aware of him, but I just thought that the mediums and the places that he was in was quite interesting. Nobody can figure it what he said about the Rutgers women's basketball team. Remember he said they were nappy head hoes? Remember that? And it caused a firestorm. Protests, sponsors were leaving, people were pulling their sponsorship from the program, and then CBS decided to part ways with him. But while he was on, I mean, it was trailblazing work. I mean, it seems so simple now to set up a camera and you're doing like a radio show. But again, 10 years ago, that was cutting edge. Not that he was cutting edge, but just the platform and the way he was putting his message out. Now you see a lot of people doing that. Everyone's doing it now. Tracy writes, F can do. Good husbands don't F around. FOH. Ultimately, you're completely right about that. I'm just making a point. You're right about that. Good husbands don't F around. You're right. You're right. You're so right. I stand corrected. But back to this, Don Imus, as I said, was not an influence. For me, my biggest influences in talk radio were people like, I used to listen to a lot of Howard Stern. Howard Stern still is a pioneer in terms of, what he did and how he did his show. I used to break it down and deconstruct it. Locally, the biggest influence for me was a guy named Carmine Guzman. He was a Jewish guy. He used to do a show on 55 KRC, 5500. And he was a liberal. And he used to light the night sky up with his flow. I mean, he used to light this city up in a way that I had never heard anybody talk about Cincinnati. It was just amazing. I couldn't believe it. And I didn't want to be like him, but I wanted to be like me with him as an inspiration. And people might not know this. That was the reason why I even wanted to work at the Buzz. It had nothing to do with the Buzz per se. I mean, it was close to me living in Cincinnati. What really attracted me to that was the fact that I found out that Jerry Tolliver, former program director, was the program director for Carmine Guzman's show. Matter of fact, they used to date. She was his program director. And when I found that out, I wanted to work with her. I'm like, oh, damn. That's where I want to be. And of course, the rest is history. But Carmine Guzman, man, he was the best. He was the number one talk show host that I've ever heard in this city or anywhere else. So people like him, who else was a big influence is Jim Rome, a white male sports talk show host who was the godfather of all sports talk radio. I don't care who you are. A lot of people are still adopting his style. He did what I thought was the number one and the best sports talk show that I've ever heard, even to this day. I've never heard a sports talk show like his. And he was a crazy big influence. Howard Stern. I'm trying to figure out who else was somebody who I was like, yeah. And then the rest was just hip hop and just the swagger of my generation. That was the influence. Like the culture what was going on, and then like taking that and putting it into talk radio form. You know, that's was my style was born from. You know, those guys right there. Lincoln Ware, just kind of listening to the way he does what he does. And those were some of the people that I listened to a lot. And as I said, those two guys in particular, those three in particular were the top influences. Carmine Guzman, Jim Rome, and Howard Stern. Now, if I was coming at age right now, it's completely different now. When I was coming up, you didn't have the internet like this. I didn't get a chance to turn the internet and hear anybody else doing things from across the country. It was like public radio, NPR, and commercial radio. That was it. That's all you had right there. Don Imus was never, I used to listen to Don Imus, I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh because I was a captive audience. Living in Cincinnati, I had no choice. If I was into talk radio, this is all there was. That's why I love 2019. Because in 2019, you can find any kind of voice from all over the world. It's amazing. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Nate? Top of the morning, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm coming back from getting a little breakfast, and I heard you talking about the previous radio host that you used to listen to, or something that even inspired you.
Yeah.
Mine's going to be a little tripped out, Nate, because I actually got inspired by it, and it's crazy because it worked in the reverse. It's like I'm the killmonger of talk radio when it comes to this person. But the Great American, he was the one that it was like the aha moment for me. I was like, oh, they really talk like this. Yeah, Bill Cunningham. Nate, what happened was back in the day, I worked for my dad, and I was basically first shift supervisor or fill-in. And when you're dealing with, probably 50 to 40 to 650 employees during the morning, somebody's going to call in sick. So I had to run their route, the school bus, driving, big yellow school bus. And this was back in the day when they had math class. So I'm basically trying to read the route and come pick up the kids. And basically I just found out, just ask the smartest kid or the kid that's always run this route which way to go, and they knew where to go. But I used to tell them they had an AM radio. So I turned on the radio, and back then I was listening to Gary Burbank. And they used to do the Sports of Consequence and stuff like that. And then at 6 o'clock, I listened to Sports Talks. I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. This was back when, this was back when Andy was there, Andy Furman, another guy that, gave me my first break in radio. So 9 o'clock come, and I just happened to listen to the radio, and then he comes on. And then from that point on, man, I've been hooked. I have, just from the simple point of I get to call in and debate these fools. Mm-hmm. And Nate, I'm coming from a standpoint, if you're talking about a guy that, my whole life I grew up in, I guess they would say integrated neighborhoods, or at least white families were around. This was back in the day when I lived in College Hill, and they were the Felixes, and their son was the same age as mine, the daughter the same age as my sister, and they had an older sister that was our babysitter. So, it was no big thing. And of course, moved to North Avondale, had friends. My best friend, before I met everybody at North Avondale Elementary, was a guy named Leonardo. He's Italian. His father was a professor at Xavier. So, again, being in both worlds, going to Woodward High School, North Avondale Elementary, Kentucky State University, their whole, just conservatives as a whole, how I feel about conservatism and conservatives. It just was that spark, man. And then when going to Kentucky State and really out the world, can we cuss? Yeah, it's not 9:30. And the shit they didn't teach us in high school. And Nate, I'm like you. And I tell my kids, and they can't believe it, but I grew up in an era when the TV turned on, so I watched whatever was on. So I'm a huge fan of Charlie Rose. I know that might trip people up, but you remember back in the day, I'm not that much older than you, Nate, but you remember back in the day, Charlie Rose was like the last thing to come on TV before they sang the Star Spangled Banner and the TV went out. I
do remember that, yeah. Charlie Rose was tight.
Yeah, and then I got into McLaughlin Group. Believe it or not, I was a fan of Pat Buchanan. Believe that. Yeah, I followed him from McLaughlin Group and Eleanor Cliff and, going to CNN and Crossfire, and then I watched that, excessively, and I openly admit, I actually shed a bit of a tear when Tim Russert died. You remember Tim Russert, don't you?
Russert? Yeah, I remember it's Tim Russert. His son's now doing this thing with MSNBC, right?
Right, Luke, right. Just imagine, Tim Russert died before Barack Obama took office. Tim Russert was the type of guy that would have called out the Republicans about birther stuff. I mean, put him on Front Street, because that never really happened, would you say, when it came to just attacking that issue and saying, no, you shouldn't give it any legitimacy whatsoever. And I'm going to get into it, Nate. And like I said, I got 2020 vision for those trying to get what I'm spitting. But I got a lot of shit that needs to come out in 2020, Nate. And I can't wait to get started with you, brother.
All right, let's do it, man.
Yeah, and you know how it is, man. My flow's rated E for everybody. So ladies, guys, everybody gonna get it in 2020. But Nate, I got to get back in, man. I don't want my food to get warm. I want it to still be hot. But in the end, the alt middle drop. Where are you? You get what I'm spitting. That's it.
Oh, did he say sissies? Was that the Booyah Clan at the very end, or what is that? That wasn't Booyah Clan. What was that? What? It's going to be interesting 2020. All right, good morning to you. His line is now available at 513-873-7134. I know I'm jumping around, but I do want to talk about the article that I came across just 2 days ago over the weekend. And I thought it was a good article, man, because it gave a national context to a local situation. Like, everyone's been talking about the teenagers. I was out at the optometrist yesterday or day before yesterday. And while I was waiting, I overheard some people talking about what happened over at the mall, at Northgate Mall. It's a big story. I think what needs to happen is they need to put in a teen curfew. But I also think it would be nice if the malls would do something especially for teenagers. Like I said, it seems to me like there's an audience there, whether it be Kenwood Mall or now Northgate Mall. Teenagers post-Christmas, they should do like a teenage bash or something, or a concert. I don't know if these things are possible. Charge them and, do something that's more organized and structured. I do think that some of the wording and the way that people describe what was happening, I thought was questionable. But at the end of the day, I wasn't there. I didn't see it, so I didn't feel it, and I'm getting it secondhand. But the Inquirer did a piece that was written by Cameron Knight and Madeline Mitchell 2 days ago, in which they gave a national context to it. Apparently, there's 2 malls in California that were shut down on Thursday because of disturbances when juveniles were traveling from one mall to another mall. And in their reporting, what they found is that across the country, even this year, there's been numerous instances of what we saw here in Cincinnati has been happening in other places around the country. Omaha, Nebraska on Thursday reported that people were firing pepper balls into crowds of teens after a melee broke out. At least we didn't do that here. So law enforcement fired mace, basically. Right? Chemical irritant, we'll put it that way, into crowds to disperse teens in Omaha, Nebraska. Could you imagine if law enforcement did that here? People would be in the streets. In Fort Worth, Texas, mall goers said they heard a gunshot when dozens of juveniles caused chaos in a food court and knocked over a large holiday display. So clearly this is a nationwide trend, where post-Christmas, and if it's post-Christmas, probably pre-Christmas as well, but post-Christmas, you got teenagers that's going to the malls. But you know what? I think that's I just remember growing up in Cincinnati, and me and my partner used to go to the mall too. And part of it was that we wanted to, you get a little Christmas money, so you want to do a little shopping. But primarily was maybe you got some Christmas clothes, you want to show them off, you want to hook up with other people, right? You're looking for girls. And I think the mall should do something to accommodate it. Try to not just to accommodate it, but try to capitalize off of it. Because listen, if I own a mall and you tell me that 20 or 30, 40 people are trying to get into the mall at one time, I'm happy. Because maybe y'all going to buy stuff. I'm happy. I think that Northgate Mall was underprepared, and that's their fault. Because look at what happened to Kenwood Mall last year. They should have been on top of their game, and they should have had more of a security presence. But the biggest thing is parents dropping their kids off like, hey, it's not like you listen. When my daughter stays after school at her school, I'll be a little bit nervous. At her school, let alone her coming to me saying, hey, I'm going to hang out at the mall for a few hours. You cool? Who you going with? To do what? No, B, come on back in here. So these parents is dropping their kids off so that somebody else can babysit your kids. Believe it or not, there are parents like that. They drop their kids off and drive off quick. They ain't even looking back. Whoo, I got 3 hours to myself. Teenagers up here involved in something you don't know. And I saw the flyer that these teenagers put out. It said, it read, "Get lit, bitch." That's what it read on it. It had a picture of the mall, the time, and it read, "Get lit, bitch." Like, get lit. And I'm thinking, when I think of getting lit, there's a couple ways. Lit can be happy, it can be dancing, or it can be drug induced, like alcohol or marijuana. You're getting lit. So I think they should take that name, Get Lit, maybe leave the bitch out, Get Lit Bitch or whatever. Maybe it's Get Lit Teen Party or something like that. And, do something for the teenagers so they not, because my thing is, where are all these teenagers right now? They're at home? Are there any teen clubs? If you're 14, 15, 16, what are you doing? You should be at home, right? Okay, I'm with you on that. You should be reading the Bible. That's what you should be doing. But I thought it was quite interesting that all over the country this past week, and going back to like 2017 in this article, it's not outside the realm of possibility that a lot of teenagers are going to go to the mall. And see, as I told you earlier, this is not your grandmother's country. This is not your grandfather's country. This is a whole new world. It's called the New America. And in the New America, you never know what's going to happen. In the New America, you never know what's going to happen. In the New America, you can go to the mall. You got some digital coupons. You're about to pick up some post-Christmas sales. And, 14 teenagers run you over and trample you to death. Now, that didn't happen here. Now, why am I bringing this up? The reason why I thought this was a great story by Cincinnati Enquirer is it gave national context. See, my thing is that it's real easy to vilify black teenagers in Cincinnati. It's real easy. Happens all the time. And I just felt like there was an over criminalization of the whole kind of thing. Like 200 teenagers all with one mind were doing this all together. Like, some of that's a group mentality. It is what it is. I don't know. I mean, are teenagers crying out? I don't know. Is this just a straight parent thing where the parents keep your kids at home and we won't have no problems? Or do we need to create something for teenagers, whatever that might be? Again, I'm spitballing and generalizing like a mofo. I don't have no specifics on that, but I thought that was interesting because people was going hard at those teenagers, going hard at the black family. Oh, you keep your kids at home. All I'm saying is that, when black teens are involved, it's real easy for things, the perception of it to get out of control. Because when black teens are involved, I read this morning, aggressive teens. Now, what does that mean, aggressive teen? The fuck does that mean, aggressive teen? Like I told you, I had to check a grown-ass white woman most recently because she tried to call me aggressive. No, B, we ain't playing that game. I had to let her know, which she didn't like too much. Let me see here. Aggressive. I read this morning, aggressive teens. What were they doing? I'm not really sure if aggressive teens. Here's what happened. A fight broke out. That's it. A fight broke out. And in the New America, fights are breaking out because human beings don't know how to interact with one another. People don't know how to interact. Man, listen. I was talking with a white female within the last 2 weeks, and she was sharing with me some experiences that happened to her with a former Uber driver. This woman told me that her Uber driver basically propositioned her and told her she had a big penis and did she want to play with it. Now, if you're a female and you riding alone in a stranger's car and he says something to you like that, unless you in the mood for it, your ass gonna be like, what your antenna going up like, danger. But the reason why is because you got people doing Uber and rideshare now that live isolated lives. They're not really around people a lot. They don't know how to interact with people. You got some of these dudes driving around with these young college girls. They ain't never been that close to a young girl like that in years. They don't know how to act. And just because you don't have a record don't mean that you ain't did some shit that you should have a record for. You just didn't get caught. You just didn't get caught yet. It's plenty of people don't have no record on paper. They look clean as hell. Crazy as a mofo. They knocking on your door, don't answer. Plenty of people like that. The same thing happened with Popeye's chicken. We always want to misdiagnose shit when it comes to black people. Everybody misdiagnosed Popeye's chicken. Oh, these black folks care more about chicken than they do voting. Black people putting all this money in non-black hands. Black people fighting over chicken. It's not about the chicken. It's that human beings don't know how to interact. It's a video game culture. Everybody's sitting at home interacting on this keyboard. You get face to face with certain people. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to deal with conflict. People trying to cut in line, people saying rude stuff, people pulling knives and guns for small stuff. That is America. The chicken was just, the latest, blip on the radar screen. You get a lot of people who don't know one another, right? Standing in line anywhere and something can jump off, whether it be a football game, whether it be, you stand outside to get some rare Air Jordans or whatever, or you stand in line to get a chicken sandwich and somebody wants to cut in front of you. You've been standing there for 15, 20 minutes. It's going to piss you off. It's not about the chicken, right? Exactly. But everybody tried, the black community, they don't care. You out here, you should be voting, as if that's the two choices you have. Like, okay, I should go vote today. But maybe they voted the day before and now they're standing in line to get some chicken. So they've already did their civic duty. People didn't want to hear that. They wanted to go super hard. We overly criticize and analyze when black folks do something. Meanwhile, in Pike County, the white family, you had a whole family got massacred over some baby mama drama. Over baby mama drama. Massacred the whole family. Left them in puddles of blood. There's no conversation about the white family whatsoever. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to knee-jerk react every time somebody black does something and absorb it and it's our fault and what's wrong with us. I don't necessarily feel that way. I don't feel that way. But how do you feel? 513-873-7134. Let me go here. Let me see something here. All right, here we go. Right people who go to jail for short times like Tracy Hunter normally realize they've been doing too much and need to sit down for a bit. I realize it. Hunter is still painfully defiant, has not realized that she needs to fall back as she was trending towards something more harsher and sinister. You still on this? Well, listen, what I would say is that, somebody's got to have some backbone. Somebody needs to be defiant. Somebody's got to be unrelenting. Somebody's got to be unyielding and unwilling to cow down and bend their back just because things might look a little difficult. So, maybe that's just the example that Tracy Hunter provided for us. And again, that was a 10-year saga. Really, Tracy Hunter, you could maybe even say that might be the local story of the decade because the story took a decade. This shit started back 9 years ago, 10 years ago. And we finally got the so-called, if you want to say conclusion, here in 2019. And again, we need somebody to show some backbone and be defiant here in the city. That's all I'm saying. Mason Marler writes, spraying mace to disperse a crowd happened in Cincinnati. It happened in Swift and Mall. As a matter of fact, I got sprayed with it in 1986, my senior year. Oh, I got some too. Yeah, I got a nice little whiff of chemical irritant back in the 90s, just hanging out on Short Vine, and somebody did something dumb. It's always somebody not related to the larger group that did something dumb, and then the police come down and want to shut everything down. Well, the crowd didn't move fast enough, so the police, here's what literally happened. I'm going up to Short Vine. I literally parked the car. As I turn the corner, right, to walk on the Short Vine, I walk into a big plume of chemical irritant, right? And I just got like a glancing blow, and it had me effed up for at least an hour. That stuff, That stuff is very, very strong. But I get it. I mean, that's some of the tools that law enforcement uses to disperse crowds. I get it, but it doesn't feel good. Let me see. You sound as if you think the NFL doesn't have a race issue as it relates to head coaches. You sound like Ben Carter out here. You're right. Mike Davis writes, "Hey, Tracy. Hey, good to see you. I hope Marvin Lewis gets another chance as a head coach in the NFL. Me too. Me too." Mason Mahler writes, "Fuck Don Imus and John Wayne." Okay. I feel you. Little Public D flows from Public Enemy back in the day. Yeah, I mean, Don Imus was what he was, but in terms of like radio, I just wanted to give a few flows as to, my thoughts on him. I thought that what he was doing was pioneering, not him as a man, but the platform. Just the whole idea of a microphone, just a real generic setup. Boom, you got a camera, you bring guests on, you do your show. That predates a lot of the shows that's on YouTube right now. It predates a lot of the shows that's out there in the digital space right now. So it's not that I think that Don is some great guy, but he did play a role. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nate.
Hey, Forte, how you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there, man. You hitting on all four corners of the city today. You're doing great. Can I pick up a couple of your topics?
Absolutely, man. What's on your mind?
Let's get to this Amber Guyver. If you remember, we talked about this at the time. And I said she had on their uniform and their gun, they should have some liability. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yep.
Okay, now I'm not going to argue with Donnie B because she's the attorney, But in reality, I feel that the city of Dallas has to take on some of that burden. Like I said, if she'd have been on her time, she didn't have a uniform on, it would have made the complex situation a little bit different. But the state of Texas or whatever court they went to, they made a decision, So now the city has to sue Amber. I can assure you Amber she don't have anything. What you going to get out of her?
Nothing.
Okay. So, the family, they did the big forgiveness thing and they could accept the 10 years. Remember that?
I do remember that.
And I said all that forgiveness is going to get her out in about 3 years. Remember that conversation?
Yeah, I remember.
When they go to the board, the first thing that her attorneys is going to say is the family forgave her. It gives the board a little bit more discretion to say, okay, this family is not going to be upset. They already forgave her publicly, so we'll let her out in 3. Remember, she could have got 98 years. The prosecutor recommended 28 years. The jury, dealing with the circumstances of the female white, gave her 10. So that will play itself out. Now let's get to our kids in the mall. The topic is real simple. Kids need a place to go and vent and have some fun. But the way that they announced it, I got to agree with some people who talked about it over the last few days. You knew getting lit meant we going to go out here and act a fool. You knew that when you went. So now most parents obviously didn't understand the flyer went out and that their kids are taking themselves into an environment that could be detrimental. So all parents who have influence over their children should learn something from this. Because if it had been my kid or yours and they knew it was going to get lit, they shouldn't have went in the first place. So we already got an issue as far as my discipline. Secondly, if you just happen to be at the mall doing everything right and all hell breaks loose, guess what I expect my kids to do? Get to the closest exit and call me. If you standing there in that mayhem and you get maced or you get hit upside the head or you get arrested, then you put yourself in the devil's playground. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
So that's thing number one. So I don't know, man. I don't think you've seen the whole Pike County tape because the sheriff's deputy beat this man so bad he broke his hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the clown had the nerve to want workers' compensation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. And he knew he was being recorded. He knew
didn't give a damn.
Didn't give a damn. He tortured this man, basically.
This is why I keep telling our kids, when you turn on your camera or your smartphone, don't get in the officer's face. Officer, you going live. They don't give a damn about that.
Right.
If anything, get your ass and use the Zoom. Step back, film them from a distance. And I showed you the cell phone gun, right? Mm-hmm. 99% of Americans don't have any conscience that it's a gun look just like a cell phone that can shoot 2 deadly projectiles and kill you. So guess what? If I'm playing police and you get close to me with the phone, I'm thinking about you shooting me in my head with your phone. Now, most people don't have the knowledge of that, and we haven't lost the first officer in this country with a cell phone gun yet. But imagine what's going to happen when and if that happens. The first time somebody in the crowd put 2 rounds in an officer in the middle of some foolishness, you won't be able to get within 50 feet of an officer with your phone then.
Yep. It's going to be a real problem.
You see, so until we had that human sacrifice, and you already know I'm all about good policing. I have no love for these guys who go out here prematurely. I feared for my life and hurt and kill people. I can't give them no love. If your perception makes you take somebody out, and after the fact you realize you was wrong, then you need to step. First thing you need to give up your own damn career. They shouldn't have to make you quit. You should be, my perception was wrong. I took a human life. My career's over. But that's not what we see a lot, do we?
No, they fight to the end.
They fight to the deadly end. So I don't know, man. Like I said, you've been hitting on all cylinders. I woke up listening to you. In the church situation. Now, my research said that the 2 people who drew down was on the church security team. That these guys were authorized by the church to carry their weapons, and they was there to keep the church safe. Unfortunately, when the guy produced the sawed-off shotgun, the first parishioner was hit so quick, they couldn't react to it fast enough. So this guy didn't have a pistol. He didn't have an AR. He had some short shotgun. And it looked like the person he shot to me was black, although the church was in white settlement. So I don't know. We'll get more details on that.
It's a new day, man. I ain't mad at it. It's a new day when you got church security, armed guns, so people can just pray and fellowship and worship.
Now, the other extreme is I'm in a church with hundreds of people, and 50 of them got their CCW. And all hell break loose, and guns are popping up everywhere. That's a whole nother zip code right there. So, in the modern church, the people in charge need to get people trained up. They need to have specific people there to keep us safe. And when something happens, everybody else needs to hit the ground, get low, so that these 3 or 4 people can handle their business.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're right about that. It was a church security guard. It was other members of the church that pulled their weapons out, but they didn't fire.
Right. And looking at the church, it was a good-sized church, and it wasn't packed, but it was a nice crowd in there. So think about some of our churches on them days that's wall-to-wall with people. And like I said, the other extreme is, 20, 30, 40 people start pulling guns and shooting. So, obviously, and I'm not getting the plug in because we're going to pick all this up after the first of the year. But myself and Ride or Die and Joe, we train churches in church security. It's churches in Cincinnati, you don't want to make a mistake and go in that church. Because these people have spent hours and hours and hours and hours training their security staff. So it's bigger than just having a CCW going into a crowded environment with your gun. I tell you, if you got a CCW, stay what you came with, right?
Yep.
Don't take on the guy with the AR-15 and the body armor. You're not trained for that. So, you got a man got to know his limitations. So whether you're carrying or not, You got to look at the level of your training. The best thing you might be able to do is grab your family and get in a corner. Squat low. And if the opportunity comes, you could put some rounds in this guy. If he got on heavy clothes, you're looking at head shots and grunt shots. Because you don't know if he got ballistic stuff up under there or not. So, in the end, you know, it sounds crazy, but a good guy with a gun took down a bad guy with a gun. If they'd have dialed 911, how many people would have been dead?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It might have been a massacre in there.
Exactly. So, really, really good topics, man. I mean, like I said, you've been hitting on them, which you do every day. It take a hell of a guy to carry the show the way that you carry it and hit on all these topics. And, you know, to all the choppers, happy holidays. You know, and prayerfully we all going to see the new year. So I'm going to say happy new year right now and try not to jinx us because we right on the doorstep.
Yes, we are. Hey, you know, Forte, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, hang in there, man. We'll get together.
Yeah, most definitely.
Look at the 12th for wifey, January 12th.
January 12th?
That day. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And let me know.
All right. Will do.
Bye.
12th. All right. Got that. That's Forte, Ride or Die. And, of course, they led myself and a small group of the listeners, and we came out and got our CCW. And I highly recommend them. Highly recommend them. You know, you in these days and times, somebody asked me, like, why? What made you do this? And I told them I'm a family man. Like, I got a daughter, I got a son, I got a wife. It's 2019. It's crazy days out here. You know, somebody kicked this door in. I'm supposed to pray with them. Hey, brother, hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't hurt me and my family. No, we're not going that route. We're going to take another route. Highly qualified individuals. Wow. So now you're calling stand up for yourself and stand for what you believe as painfully defiant. See, that's why I can't F with conservative black folks. What? Let's see here. D. Grace from South Central's in the house. Good to see you. Man said a sewing needle string around the sewing needle and clip the needle in the ink and you prick into the skin with the needle. I got it done back by a Mexican woman, and that's how they did tattoos back then. Really? Mason Marler writes, to mess with brothers who got a tattoo with a sewing needle, they like to fight, LOL. My man got a tattoo with a sewing needle. Well, I mean, is that so much different than a tattoo gun? I mean, same basic concept, right? TNT's in the house. She writes, good morning. Ray writes, has anyone seen the alleged stabber from the New York stabbing? Just sad. Brother Muzone writes, I do too, Nate, or he was an alcoholic. The man beat her when I got drunk. Nas even admitted it. Yeah, I just can't roll with anybody that beats women. And Nas or anybody else. I can't roll with that. Can't be a part of it. It was sad too. I haven't listened to Nas. It's been very, very rare. Very, very rare. You know, you gotta have principles. you gotta believe in something. Yeah, I appreciate it. So Forte says something I hadn't thought about. I think he's right about that the parents didn't read the flyer. Because if the parents had read the flyer that the teenagers were responding to, that brought them out to Northgate Mall, what was it, the day after Christmas, then they probably would not have dropped their teens off. You know what I'm saying? You know, these kids was probably lying to their parents. You know, these kids lie. Oh, Mom, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go see the new Star Wars movie. I'm going to go see the new Mandalorian or whatever the hell is in the movie theaters right now. I'm going to go see Dr. Dolittle 2, whatever the hell is in the movie theater right now, right? And the parents are like, oh, okay. You're going to use some of your Christmas money and get you some jeans? Okay, get you some jeans and go to the movies. I'll pick you up in 2 hours. The parents didn't know that the flyer writes, get read, get lit, bitch. He's right about that. Get lit also means we're going to act wild. So, again, I just think these parents, there might have been some of the parents who was like, oh, yeah, we saw the flyer. When they say get lit, that just means they're going to dance. It's going to be a dance competition. But I agree with Forte. I think most of the parents had no idea that it was like we're going to meet all the teenagers up here. Because if you tell a parent like, oh, it's going to be hundreds of them, oh, you ain't going. That'd be the first reaction of most black parents. Oh, you 200? You going to meet 100 teenagers and get lit, bitch? You ain't going. I wish my daughter would come to me and say, you know what? I'm trying to get lit at this get lit bitch party, and we're going to go to the mall. When you say we, who you mean? Like your spirit, the spirit animal inside of you is going to like go? Because your ass ain't going nowhere. My daughter's sick of me. She's sick of me right now. She's upstairs right now like, I wish this man stopped asking me questions. She can't stand me, and that's a good thing. I'm all up in her business. Miss D's in the house. She writes, greetings. Good morning to you, Miss D. You know, somebody says, so what's up with the show? I mean, more of the show. Like I said, I mean, I believe that we're on the cutting edge of black digital media here in the city of Cincinnati. And I like the podcast. I like each and every one of them. I'll say it again. Donnie B is the best new talk radio voice in 2019. So let it be written. And I want to continue it. I think there's a space for commercial and the traditional entities, and also new digital entities as well. So, and as we get into 2020, I think the community is going to need, different voices. You know what I'm saying? Different voices. When your commercial radio station left, I started this, to not just fill the void per se, because I don't think you really fill a void, but just to add something new. And so as I just get better at what I'm doing, I see it more and more. It's very clear to me that this is the right path, and I plan on staying on it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm all about. So I don't plan on changing the show's time. I think 8 to 10 works great, and I'm able to make my commitments away from the microphone and then to you as well. And the podcasts we're working on are just more, over the last few weeks. I mean, several people have reached out who I think have the potential to do very powerful work in terms of podcasting and streaming. I want to continue doing that. I like creating that platform. And as I said, I mean, this is the future, and we're here together. So why would we stop? I just plan on adding, growing, and getting better. That's it. More voices. Ray writes, one must also keep in mind some caught a bootlegged or drive with other teens or the bus, not just rides from parents. Ray, you're right about that. Or these teenagers now, man, these teenagers is taking Ubers. You got Uber drivers that's riding teenagers around, man. You don't do no shit like that. 17 years old, 15 years old in the back of an Uber, that's a potential problem right there. Anything can be said or happen, but it happens. So you got ride share. You're right about that, Ray. So that's the other thing. I like to break things down so we don't just work on the assumptions, especially when it comes to how the black family is perceived in the greater Cincinnati area. So my son won't be out there. My daughter will not have my consent to be at the get lit bitch party. No, I don't want my kids to be at the mall without me. What you at the mall for? You don't need to be at the mall. But when these things happen, it was just a fight. That's all it was. Nobody got robbed. Nobody got hurt. It was a bunch of black kids running through the mall, and it scared the bejesus out of people. They were fighting and whatever. Okay. People fight. I'm not upset about a fight here and there. I don't get all crazy about that, because human beings have been fighting since the beginning of time. Cain and Abel fought to the death, if you want to call it a fight. Just something inherent about that, especially with young people. They get charged up on Facebook and they want to go talk face to face, all this kind of stuff. That's just the culture we live in. I got no problem with it. I really don't. As long as nobody gets hurt, nobody's being robbed, you break the fight up, you brush off the dirt, take your ass home, and then you live to fight another day, and that's it. That's it. How many people, who's never been in a fight before? Who ain't ever been in a fight before? Everyone's been in a fight at least once in their life, whether you wanted all that smoke or not. You dealt with it. That's just a part of the process. It really is. I don't think you should be doing it at a mall. It scares people, but I don't want to turn this into something that it really never should be. CG Dub writes, or maybe the parents were too busy trying to get lit. CG Dub, we already know the answer to your question. The answer to your question is that there probably was a small percentage of the parents there that was trying to get lit, meaning that they was dropping their teens off, or just the teens was out of their hair for a little while so they can go do what they want to do. I think the majority of those parents, if they dropped their kids off or allowed their kids to go, they had never seen the flyer. They probably didn't even see the flyer. So their teenagers lied to them the way teenagers will lie to you. They lie by omission. They don't tell you everything. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you it was a get lit bitch party. Well, son, daughter, that is a very important element to the story. I just want to spend this $20 or $30, or I got $100 for my grandmother to get some school clothes. I'm just going to go to the mall and get some school clothes, Mom. Your mom's like, yeah, go out to Forever 21 to get you some clothes. She don't know you're at the get lit bitch party. She don't know that. They have no idea. No idea. Nate, when I go to the mall, that ain't what I go for. You want to have words with Mookie? Take your ass to Mookie's house. I feel you. But again, nobody got injured and nobody got robbed. And I think that just needs to be put out there. Nobody was hurt. You know, I'm not trying to play it down. I just don't want to be a part of the crowd that piles on, you know, when it comes to the black kids. That's it. Or the non-white kids. That's it. That's it. Nothing more than that. I ain't making excuses, y'all. That's it. Nothing more. Oh, man, we're over 10? Damn. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, so tomorrow is the 31st. And I will be with you on the 31st. I will not be with you on the 1st. And then I'll return again on the 2nd and the 3rd, and we'll be with our normal schedule. So I'll be with you tomorrow. I will not be with you Wednesday. But I will be with you on the 2nd, and I will be with you on the 3rd. Okay? And I will be with you tomorrow. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday is my schedule this week. I'm not planning to be with you unless something drastically changed. I'm not even sure what that would be. But I'm not planning to be with you on Wednesday. I want to make sure I give you a heads up. Oh, snap. Oh, really? Oh, man. Okay. Appreciate the love. Got a listener listening in Texas. Okay. Chiming in about Amber Guyver. Okay. Appreciate it. Appreciate the flows. Nate, keep up the good work. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. CG Dub writes, Nate, at what mall has there ever been a party? Well, I don't know. I mean, I just remember going out to, is that called Forest Fair Mall? Out there in Forest Park? I remember years ago going out there. They had like some teen shit on Fridays or Saturdays or something. I think it was like Friday night. They had it was a movie theater, but it was like a cheap movie theater where you could see movies for $1. They weren't first run movies, but like think about Redbox, but instead of Redbox, it's like, you had your choice of watching movies that have been out for some time. And they had all of these sort of like, game room right there. And I just remember going out there a couple times. It was advertised. I don't remember if I paid or not. It was nothing but like young people, who were my age. And I remember thinking it's pretty cool. I went out there a couple times and, but that's what malls are for. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're for. I'm just trying to come up with some creative ideas so that teenagers can still, well, number one, the mall is in the business of making money. That's a place of business. And the fact that it is a place where people can congregate only supports the primary goal, which is making money. So if you got all these teenagers that want to come out there, put like a little concert out there. I don't know, bring somebody in town, bring Lil Fizz in town. He's hot right now. He got some whack ass YouTube music. Bring Lil Fizz from town from B2K and do like a little concert or something like that. Charge the teenagers. Boom, you making money. I don't know. Maybe you close it off so that it's just in the food court or something. Again, I'm just spitballing here. That's not my job. CG Dub writes, Nate, I'll see you at the Get Lit Bitch Party on 1/1/2020. That's a great name for a holiday party. That's a great name for a New Year's Eve party. Get Lit Bitch. These teenagers are so creative. See, other people see a problem. I see creativity. Whoever is the person I put together, that's a young promoter right there. You know what I'm saying? Promoting to his demographic, and they're putting on events or whatever. And I think that's great. You know, that's how I look at it. Transform that, you know, whoever is the leader of that obviously is showing some kind of skills, right? So they should, I don't know. I'm just, everybody always wants to criminalize. I'm just not about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to come up with some other issues, other ways of dealing with it. Mr. Marler writes, LOL, hell no. And they said, who hasn't been in a fight, whether you wanted that smoke or not? You just dealt with it. Ain't that the truth? Right. I know how it is, whether you wanted to smoke or not. You had to deal with it right then and there. OMG, I can only imagine my son saying to me, I would probably bust out laughing. Get what? Read who? Right. One must also keep in mind, I think I read that. It's the same concept. The tattoo gun just moves faster than the same thing. Right. You're right about that. So I don't want to go overboard with it. You're right. I mean, it's the same basic concept. I don't know. I just never heard that before. It was new to me. I'm like, that sounds especially painful. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if you have any tattoos, but tattoos can be very painful in certain parts of your body. Soft skin, like under your arm, or I never got one on my chest before. I can imagine that. That shit can be super painful, but people do it. Some people get addicted to it, man. It's like they gotta have the ink. And I think it's the process. It's like the pain or something. And then some people don't think they're beautiful, so they want to cover up their face and their skin with what they think is more attractive than what God gave them. But, you know, everybody got different strokes here. Damn. Whoa. We got some future wrestlers. Put that young man on the wrestling team right here. Hold on, let me bring this up. I'm looking at this video again. Damn. See, I see these young people. I'm looking at a video of the melee that took place with the young people. I don't think this was in Cincinnati, though. I don't think it's in Cincinnati. Yo, Glenn, you posted this 22 hours ago. Is this the video from Cincinnati? Because I don't think that it is. Speaking of Cincinnati, I got a chance to talk with Andrea yesterday. She was in town. And, you know, Andrea has had this issue with Victor Cousins and the church. She told me she actually went to the church yesterday. She went to the same church that she helped to bring down yesterday. And I'm checking my message. She said she was going to send me a video of it. So let me check my messages real quick. I'm going to have to hit her up. I have not received a video, Andrea. I do not have a video. She said she was going to send me a video of what happened. I was going to post it out there. So Victor Cousins is the leader of a church, and he's had a lot of relationships. One relationship he had was with a woman named Andrea. And apparently it didn't go too well. It went real bad in terms of he lied to her and, you know, was trying to get her to move from, I think she lives in New York, to come to Cincinnati to be with him. And what she found out is that he had a lot of women and he was using church funds and giving her money. She actually sent me what appeared to be a photograph of a check, right? And it was the official like church check letterhead. You know what I'm saying? And he had written the check out to her. I forget the amount. So she goes hard at the dude. And I mean, it leads to him, his church and people leaving, a big scandal. And then she also told me some stuff about Larry Reed, which I won't put out there. But it just, she's a woman on a mission. We'll put it that way. She is on a mission. And she's actually trying to do some good things. You know, she's trying to do some positive things here in the state of Ohio, which, again, I won't share with you until she puts it out there. But let me see if I can find this here. She said her and her friends went straight into the church like, what, bitch? We here. What? Now say something. She said basically he tried to ignore her. Yeah, she must have forgot or changed her mind. I'll reach out to her. I see Brother Terrence Graxton is on his grind, and he was running for House District 33, and he is looking for financial support. He posted that inside the friends page for folks that want to support that brother. Looking super sharp with the military, looking good. Telling you, man, people like it. It's a good look. That's not good. Let me see here. No, that's not the video from Cincinnati. Okay. Mason Marlon writes, grown and sexy, get lit, bitch party. One slow jam every 5 songs. I guarantee you somebody's going to pick up on the get lit, bitch as a concept, as a brand. They're going to run with it. Because it works. Look at what happened. So you're saying that's not the tape from Cincinnati? Okay, good. Good. Damn, these young people was going at it. And see, what happens is these young people have been watching these videos, these World Star videos, watching people get stomped out. Now, what's going to happen is one of these teenagers on some dumb ish is going to stomp somebody out and kill them or cause some kind of major injury. They're going to end up in jail for a long time. And then it's going to be all about, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to kick him in the head when he was laying down like that. I mean, my thing is this. I don't know what the beef is, but at 16, 17, it can't be that big. You 16, 17, you living with your mama, you a good kid, you arguing over some dumb shit on Facebook, and that leads you to stomp somebody out at a mall. I don't know, man. I mean, for me, when I was 17, my life and future was more precious than that. I mean, I'm like, I appreciate the heart of these young men. I love the heart. I love heart. I love moxie and strength and all that kind of stuff. But they can direct all this energy in a better place. They run around here fighting each other in the mall. Meanwhile, you a young black man living in America. You got a much bigger fight in front of you, bro. You need to be getting ready for that. That's what I would tell my son. You fighting the wrong enemy. Look at this. That's just, don't talk about me on Facebook. That's all that is. Don't talk about me. Don't keep my name out your mouth and all this kind of stupidness. You ain't gonna never say nothing about me on Facebook again. Say something about you on Facebook, just block them. That's all you gotta do. It works quite well. If it's something that I want to change or I don't like or whatever on one of my, I do what I want to do. Give a damn. Oh, you pop some shit? Okay, just block it. That's all you got to do. But, people want to fight and all this kind of stuff. I mean, say those blows and fights for something that's really a problem. Getting mad at somebody to go to your high school, you in the same homeroom, and y'all gonna go to the mall and fight. Stupid, man. Stupid. But they say that youth is wasted on the young. You ever heard that before? Youth is wasted on the young. That's because young folks, their brains is all full of strawberries and scrambled eggs and grits. And they don't really know what they have. Mike Jones writes, exactly, Nate. Spending that energy on a skill that will get you paid young and right. You got hands? Cool. That's great. Nowadays, everything is about social media for these teens. Likes and shares are their drug. I mean, I can see it, man. I mean, we don't allow our daughter to get on social media, but we caught her on social media a couple times already because kids gonna sneak and do shit. That's just the nature of it. But it's just nothing on social media she needs as a 14-year-old. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. She was like, I want to get on TikTok. TikTok? No. And the other thing about social media is X-rated. Facebook is X-rated. Instagram is X-rated. TikTok is X-rated. What I mean by that is your kids might see anything on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe it's the kind of things that you follow. And maybe I'm telling on myself. But I'm grown. So it don't really matter. But my daughter can get on social media when... Oh, okay, I'll do that. My daughter can get on social media when she gets grown. Her senior year, as she's going to college, she can get on social media then. That's about it. There's no reason for it. I'm checking back here. I want to get all of your chat in as much as possible before we make this move at 10:24. I got to make a move. Busy day. The daughter and I are going to go see a movie together. As I told you, that was our holiday thing. Probably break bread, get a little lunch together. And then I'm back to the lab and get ready for tomorrow's show and moving forward with Sand Digital Media. I slept with big dogs, Glenn. Remember, I'm not Beowulf for nothing. Okay. I feel you, brother. I get it. I get it. Mason Mahler writes, the Texas church shooter was a white guy. Well, the security guard, I'm looking at the image right here. Damn, this one got a shotgun in the church? You got a shotgun in the church? You coming to kill people in God's house? Come on, man. Mental illness or hate. Mental illness, hate, or emotions. You know, somebody in there was messing with his wife, or he's got some issues with the philosophy of the church, or, mental illness, just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. I kid you not, it was in the summertime. It happened this summer in 2019. I had just finished the store. No, I take that back. I was on the show from my home studio. And from my home studio, I can hear if somebody knocks on the door. I'm in the middle of the show. I hear, and it's authoritative too. I'm like, who the fuck is knocking on my door like that? You know what I'm talking about? You ever feel like that? Who the fuck? It's like 9:30. I'm on the air. I ignore it. I get off the air. I hear it again. I look outside. It's a white woman. I'm not making this up. And I think she was mentally ill, just walking through the neighborhood, randomly knocking on doors. I had to prevent her from going to my backyard. Like, who are you, miss? Do you know somebody here? He's like, oh yeah, I think I know the people that live in this house. No, you don't. We live in this house. Who are you? Who are you? She left, came back a few hours later, knocked on the door again. It was as if she had never knocked on the door the first time. I know the people that live in this house, she said. I'm like, what the fuck? Then I had to get nasty with her. And that seemed to work. Had to get all niggerish on her. Then she seemed to understand what that meant. That, the operative word, Nate, some children and youth just don't have basic foundation of being told what to do. That's true, but I don't want to believe. See, I don't want to believe that about the whole crowd. I don't want to believe that. You know, young people are being young people. You know, somebody about to fight. Come on now, how many times when we was teenagers did you hear about somebody about to fight and then you went over to the fight because you wanted to watch and be a part of the drama? And you over there instigating. Beat her ass. Beat his ass. People do that. And I think on a lot of cases, that's just it. These parents are probably lied to. They didn't know it was a get lit bitch party. They thought it was just a regular, you going to the mall today. They didn't know there was a party going on where people get lit. They didn't know that. They had no idea. They had no idea. Now, there were probably, I think, a minority of the parents there that knew it. I mean, I'm a parent. I know parents. I know a lot of parents. I don't know no parents, black or white, that will allow their kids to go do that. None. Zero. Now, you might get lied to by your kid. Oh, I'm going to go get some cologne or whatever the hell is at the mall. I don't even know what's at the mall. I'm just so lost. I like it too. I like that I don't know what's at the mall. I feel good about myself. I have no idea what's in Northgate Mall. I don't know what's in Kenwood Mall. I don't know. I'm an online shopper, baby. Amazon Prime. It's nothing like getting some boxes. I got some boxes coming now for some stuff I'm putting in the studio. I can't wait to get the boxes. Nothing like it. You get the box, you open it, it's like, your stuff is in there. Don't you hate it when the order is wrong? Man, I ordered some shit about a few weeks ago. The chick comes to the house late, wrong thing in it. I'm waiting on it, I had to send it back. That makes it worse. That makes it much worse. Here is, it wasn't a party, Nate. It was a party. It was an impromptu party. It was called Get Lit Bitch. That's a little party. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is Northgate Mall should turn, they're not going to call it a Get Lit. They should say Get Lit at Northgate Mall. And then what they do is they should define lit, like take LIT as an acronym and turn it into something that's more positive, and then charge the teenagers $5 or something like that to get inside the gate. Okay. Get you a little concert going on, or maybe you put some enrichment in it as well. I don't know. I mean, damn, do I have to do everything? I'm trying to do what I'm doing here. I can't figure out what Northgate Mall needs to do as well. I mean, they got smart people that get paid a lot of money to do that. All I'm saying is, obviously, there's a teenage audience that's not being served. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs and business-minded people. I'm sure they'll come up with something. You know what I'm saying? Not the whole crowd. They were just being children and need to be redirected. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. These are children. 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. Those are kids. Those are big kids. You know what I'm saying? Nothing more than that. That's why they was doing it, because that's what people do. Young people do. They do dumb stuff. What's the dumbest thing you did as a young person? Then you do some dumb stuff. You look back like, why'd I do that? It was just dumb. But you was 16. You was following your friends or your older family members, or you was just bored. Uh-oh. Don't say that. Uh-oh. Miss D writes, folks need to see what teachers navigate on a daily. Kids want to get into stuff all the time. I do not. I have nothing but respect for teachers that do their job the right way, because if a teacher's doing their job the right way, that's a 24/7 job, and they putting a lot of heart and emotion into it. I've worked with teachers firsthand, and these are a lot of them very good people, smart people too, man. This guy, I don't have the temperament to be a teacher. I couldn't do it. I don't have the temperament to deal. It ain't even really about the students, quite honestly. It's really about the adults and the administrators and all the stuff that comes with it. But I got nothing but respect for teachers that do it the right way, and, do it with a cool head and a level mind, because not all teachers have that. Some of these teachers bring their personal stuff into the classroom and they want to take it out on the kids. I don't have no respect for that. But again, I've seen it firsthand. What kills me is sanctimonious folks. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ray. Like they've forgotten what it was like to be a teenager. You know what I'm saying? These are people that they get off on trying to be morally superior. You're not morally superior. You're just 57 now. You're not morally superior. You're 47 now. But when you were 17, you was doing some of the same mistakes that they made. I made mistakes. Damn, you looking good. I know. I'm taking you. I got you. I gotta go, y'all. Damn. I'm a lucky man. All right, I gotta make this move. We are way over time. I really appreciate you being here this morning. And I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I will not be with you on Wednesday, to give you a heads up. But again, we'll be back to our regular schedule Thursday, Friday, and then into the rest of 2020. I'm looking forward to it. And tomorrow will be like a year-end wrap-up show. I've been going back, grabbing some of the clips from some of the phone calls and some of the guests. So it should be really interesting if you've been listening to the show to kind of look back over the year that was. And I think it was quite an amazing year, quite honestly. Not just with the Nathan Ivey Show, further establishing itself as a daily digital voice here in the city of Cincinnati, but also the evolution of Sin Digital Media and providing platforms for other voices, very strong voices inside the 513 area code and beyond. So thank you for listening. I'll be back with you bright and early, as I said, tomorrow morning. I've got to make a move. Have an excellent day. Remember our motto. Winners, we might have to get a new motto. We do it every single year. Winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. I'm out.